Oh!
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 Oh! Offside! Please be offside! Please be offside! Please be offside!
Oh, what a goal by Saka.
No offside flag and we absolutely fucked it. Oh my god, man. Oh, it's not. He scored. He scored. Ah, he late. Dad did it late.
Where's Trossard? I've not seen him. Is Trossard playing? Oh, there he is. 1v1. 1v1. No! Oh! No!
You can sod off meowing as well, you bloody Arsenal fan.
We're winning it. We're winning the league.
Welcome back to the Top 6 show. Lee Gunner is officially Arteta in. I'll be having it out with him on Straight Facts tomorrow. He can't guarantee the league title without being wrong. He's done himself up like a kipper. And I am going to be going in on some Arsenal fans today, the ones who haven't yet apologized to Arteta, but think they can banter other people for them being good. It doesn't work like that, my old chum. But loads to talk about today. We'll be covering the biggest bore fest football match ever in Liverpool versus Chelsea. Lampard's been sacked today. Conte leaving at the end of the season. And of course, the fallout from one of the biggest games in the Premier League, Arsenal versus Manchester United. We all know the results. If you don't, where the hell have you been? But we're going to delve into all of that and much, much more on the terrace today. Introducing you to my panel. We've got Jessica Black and Egal here repping Arsenal, both fresh from their win yesterday. Tom Little's here with Carefree Lewis, who have both woken up. They fell asleep during about midday, 1 o'clock on Saturday, and they've just woken up from that coma from the Boarfest. And Kaz is here, along with me, kind of licking our wounds after our defeat yesterday to Arsenal. So all that and much, much more to go through. Viewers, make sure like buttons are being smashed. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace as well. That's very, very important to us that you get that done. And vote for what you want us to talk about. And we'll delve straight into the first topic of the day straight away. And that is Chelsea looking to spend more money, Lewis. There's talks about a new bid for Enzo Fernandez and a new bid for Caicedo as well. Maybe a whole new midfield in January. When is Todd Bowley going to stop spending money?
Don't know, but I don't know, but I ain't going to tell him when to stop because I didn't even expect us to go back for Enzo. I thought it was at a point where we just couldn't really afford it. That was too far by our own budget. But if we're going back in for him, then we must have some sort of confidence that we can pay out the release clause in full. Because we know what Benfica's terms are. They've been very strict on it. You either pay the release clause in one full sum or you just don't call us. If they're ringing them up again, they must have the money for it. I don't know when it's going to stop. I'm not going to tell them to stop because this is honestly the most exciting period I've had as a Chelsea fan in literal years. I can see a total rebuild of the squad happening right in front of my eyes. And if we keep going with this momentum, next season's going to look very exciting for us. But I haven't got a clue when he's going to stop. Like one of Roman's terms when he took over was Todd Bowley had to put, I think, 1.5 billion into the club within the first 10 years. So for all we know, he's just spunking it all out immediately. But yeah, I don't know when he's going to stop.
Yeah, the amount of money. They've already spent £420 million this year. And whether you get both Caicedo or Enzo, the spending's going to go above £500 million in one season. It's astronomical. And there were some green shoots of hope, maybe. I think for Chelsea the other day, João Felix is on the way back. Mudryk looks dangerous. But you throw in a one or two decent midfielders between now and the end of the season, surely some top four hope there.
I don't know. I don't want to jump to conclusions too early. I ripped that off from the start of the season. And even though it does look a bit more exciting, it's very speculative on a bunch of different factors. Like, it all depends on how they immediately bed into the squad. It all depends on who drops off as well. Because right now we're 10 points behind you guys in fourth. I don't see United dropping 10 points and Chelsea going on a winning run and being able to turn that over in the space of 4 months. Can we push for top 6 or Europe potentially? I think we can do that. But for me, Like, I'm real. As soon as we get our 11 points, we get to 40 points, I'm signed out. It's a bunch of friendlies to me, especially with the running that we have towards the end of the season. We've got United away, Arsenal away. We've got Man City away and Newcastle at home as our last 2 fixtures of the season. Tough games against Forest and Bournemouth that will be fighting relegation, and you know what relegation threatened teams are like at that point of the season. It's not going to be easy, even with all the players that we're adding right now. I'm just focused on next season personally, because next season is where I really seen they've bedded in with the manager. They've had a few months to work together. He would have brought in more players and got rid of a lot of the deadwood as well. That's where my focus is at. As for right now, I still don't think we make top 4 personally.
I think I believe in your club more than you do. You know, I have to back my prediction from many months ago at this point, when I thought, you know, Chelsea were going to turn it around and get second place. But, you know, like at this rate, I think you can go on a run. That's when at the start, I thought Graham Potter was going to turn it around. I didn't think your squad was that bad. I don't even know if I had even Man United top 4 at that point. I think I put them 5th. But, yeah, man, you've already spent what about 151 point odd million this January already, and you're about to spend another 100 on Enzo. These lengthy contracts are making sure that you don't get no FFP. That's the at this moment of time. Look, if you're telling me that Potter can't get all these players bedded in quick and playing football with your Sterling, you know, your Mudriks and all them players that you're gonna get, is that a failure though? Because I'm not being funny, your manager's getting backed, and he might have another 250 million spent on him potentially, or more, even with Malo Gusto if he comes in. Surely you must be able to get somewhere, because Tottenham's on a crumble.
Yeah, but Tottenham's out of top 4. You guys are in there. And I don't know if we overtake United personally. Like, I see we're bringing in a bunch of new players and everything, but it also depends on the manager too. Like, we've been speaking for ages about the likes of Mason Mount and Havertz constantly being in the lineup, and you need to stop having favourites and take them out. I need to see that from him too, especially if we get those new signings in. But as of right now, I think you only look at top 4 if you're still focused on this season. I am not. Next season is where the players are all going to have a good amount of time under the manager. We're going to bring in potentially more players as well. That's when our squad will be ready. As for right now, if we're going to start focusing on top 4 immediately, we need to go on a run of wins first. Like, I don't even think we've won back-to-back games since October. We need to start slowly and then look further up after we start getting those performances. And that's way too hard to predict with this team.
You might be able to take... What are you saying, Egal? Sorry, Kaz. Sorry, bro. What are you saying, Egal? About Chelsea spending and their potential to kick on from here?
I feel like when Chelsea spend big on a player, it doesn't really return the value. But when they spend like mid to like 20 to 40 to 50,000, you tend to see that player produce way more than what they spent on him. So why don't they do what, since they have the Brighton people over there now that are the same people who signed Trossard and all these other young players like Caicedo, why don't they go find the next Caicedo instead of going and spending the money on Caicedo? Why don't they go find the next Enzo Fernandez? Why don't they actually put their recruitment to the test and go and get those quality players at a cheap price and do what they're doing with the wingers instead of just putting all their eggs on spending big on the midfield? They've done this with the wingers. They've spent a lot of money on wingers, and now they're getting all these these cheap attacking players. They should do the same thing in the midfield, and maybe they're going to do that in the summer. But for now, I think spending big in the midfield in the January window doesn't guarantee them anything in the short to the long term. It gets them a quality player, but that player might not end up getting them top 4 at the end of the day.
Yeah, but I also think top 4 isn't really a target for us this season. It's been said from a lot of sources over the last few months, Poch could finish wherever Chelsea finish, and he isn't going to get sacked. This season is just genuinely a write-off. So the target isn't top 4 from us. I just want to see the squad improve as the season progresses. Where we finish is wherever we finish. As long as I see consistent improvement in the squad, I'm willing to back the project.
Let me ask you this though: you guys signed Fofana, you signed all these other young players for relatively cheap prices. What do you expect from them in the short to medium term? Not much, right?
Nah, Fofana, if we're looking at it as a like-for-like replacement, is replacing Broja, who's our number 3 striker. We've seen him play 45 minutes against Man City in the Cup, and we're already 3-0 down at that point. It wasn't going to change anything. I don't know. We have barely seen him have even a start yet to even try and judge him, but I just want to see how he beds in, what he's good at, what he needs to improve at, and how he improves, because genuinely we're at base 1 with Fofana. We haven't even seen him play.
Yeah, you know what you could do though? You could always buy those 15 points that Juventus got chipped off of, because you want to buy everything. So there you go. It might do
I
you
mean,
some
if we
favors.
can, and if there's a price tag, I'm sure Bowley will consider it. I
Yeah,
wouldn't be
man.
against that. We'd be
Chelsea-
back in the top 4 race.
Chelsea's tactic is different, risky, but I kind of like it. And I think I like it because the risk ain't on my club. They're essentially, it feels like you're spending like 2 years, maybe 3 years worth of money up front. And then it's going to be a case of this stick, because you're also looking at, I was seeing this report today from that Bobby Vincent shared about, is it Malo Gasto? Gasto. Again, I don't know who this player is, young right back, 19 years of age from Lyon. It's another young player. And I think that's the one thing about Chelsea's plan, which is very different from Roman's, or very different to how Roman spent under Conte, how he spent under Jose, where big money was put out, where you're buying some players for the here and now, but a lot of what you're doing is for the next 3, 4, 5 years along. I think that's when you may see that return of investment. Because I wouldn't be surprised if in the summer we know you're going to try and buy Declan Rice, but there's going to come a window soon where Chelsea spend nothing, and then nothing again, because you can't keep spending like this. But yeah, the methodology is interesting, because most teams always say, we'll kick the can, and Liverpool do this all the time. Next summer's the big summer. Next summer's the big summer, and nothing ever really happens. At least your owners have said, well, we've got all these holes. We're just going to fix them now. But I think if you end up with an Enzo coming in, Caicedo coming in, Felix coming back, I don't think you'll make the top 4. I agree with you. 11-point swing with Man United between now and the end of the season, I don't think it's going to happen. But you'll finish. I think you'll overtake Tottenham. I don't know where Tottenham will finish, but I think
Tottenham don't look sustainable at all. I think we could actually get something over them, but that's literally about it. Everyone else is just a big question mark for me. I agree with what you said as well about, I think we're going to spend a bunch of money now, fix our entire squad's issues, and then we're going to try and be a lot smarter with our spending. I don't think we'll go like summers without spending, but you'll probably see like 1 transfer here, or maybe 2, as opposed to 9 or 10 like we're doing right now. But we have been clear that Chelsea have had a bunch of issues for the last few years. We haven't addressed our midfield in years. Our attack has consistently got worse year in and year out. Even our defense went backwards because we let AC and Rudiger go for free. And as much as I wanted to give Koulibaly time, he weren't really doing it for us. He was too sloppy. But we're addressing all of those problems now, and we're actually involving the manager's input in that as well. And that's why a lot of our new signings, they're hitting the ground running. Badiashiel's been amazing the first 2 games. Our defense looks like the defense of old. Mudryk, I will hold reservation until I see us against defensive teams, because Liverpool do play a high line. He was obviously going to thrive with that. But it looked really good. Very, very refreshing to see someone actually take on players. Same thing with Mudeiki potentially. Felix, a 60-minute cameo against Fulham. It's like everything we pretend Kai Havertz has been for the last 2 years. All the new signings are working. So I've got complete faith in our future.
I was going to ask you, are you linked to any other midfielders besides Enzo and Caicedo? Because they're going to cost you quite a bit. And maybe if you had an alternative that you're looking at, a young player that you might be getting in, I'm not sure.
We were linked with Quadio Kone. I think he's at Mönchengladbach.
Leave him alone. Leave him alone.
He's a baller, yeah.
You're the second person to say that as well. Callum O'Coppish said
you should be going for Lavia. Lavia would be.
We are linked with Lavia too. We're linked with Lavia as well. Completely forgot about him. That's about it, though. I think Lavia would be some
midfielder for us, by the way, because you're taking all the midfielders.
We're selling some midfielders. You could have a Gallagher, a Ruben.
You know what? The worst part is,
Mount.
I know, and that's the most depressing news I've heard about this club in a long time. I don't want Mason Mount. It basically, you'd be replacing Henderson with the younger Henderson. You'd be replacing Henderson with a man who got dropped.
Guys. Henderson was brilliant.
Imagine Mason Mount ends up like offsetting some of this money they've spent. Mason Mount is the reason they can end up going to buy.
That'll be one of his greatest assists ever for Chelsea, because he barely does it.
On bringing Liverpool into this, though, Jess, talk to me about the game. Liverpool versus Chelsea. Give me your take on that performance from both sides.
I mean, it's exactly what I said it was on the preview. Both teams were scared to lose. And so we got a very timid and stiff performance from both teams. Like, there wasn't much in it. Both teams lacked a lot of quality for the kind of players that were out there. And it just was what it was. I would say probably the team that, maybe thought it was a better result was probably Chelsea. But Liverpool look a mess. And Gakpo looks like wow. Like wow. Like in a world where the Mudriks and Antonys are getting sold for 100 million, you know why Gakpo is only like 45? You know, because he's just not it. Not right now. But you know, both teams are in transition. It must hurt Liverpool to see, you know, that they're in desperate need of midfielders and players in general, and Chelsea's just throwing money at it, you know, and they're just sitting there kind of stagnating with Milners and these guys getting new contracts. It's not great. It's not good, guys.
Who hurt you, Jess?
No,
What's
I'm
going
just
on?
saying it's just the truth, you know. But it was a boring game, and yeah, I was happy when it was over. That's all I'm gonna say. It's boring.
Yeah, same word.
Yeah, it wasn't
There's nothing in it.
Mudryk was for me the only shining light. He came on. There was some twinkle in those toes. I think you can always see when a player looks like they could be, just as we saw with the cameo from Trossard against United. There was just moments where you go, right, there's some class there, and I think that's why Chelsea fans walk away slightly happier. They're away from home. They get a point. You've got the Mudryk thing, and you know you've got more young players to be added to this, and you basically have a whole 11 out injured as well. For Liverpool, like, yes, you've got Van Dijk that was out, but you've got a couple of injuries, but nothing in comparison. Like, Tom, I know we spoke about it on Saturday, but how are you feeling 2 days later? Are you optimistic about the future, or what? What are you saying?
Optimistic about the future.
I don't know what to say.
Jesus Christ. I said it. Before this season, we were, you know, one of the top 2 teams in terms of trajectory, and you could see what we were going for. We're now only above Tottenham. I think Chelsea have a better trajectory. I think United have a better trajectory. I think City have a better trajectory, and Arsenal have a better trajectory. I don't know what the plan is with this football club. We are making no sense off the pitch, on the pitch. It doesn't add up. People get on FSG and this. You've got to point fingers at the manager as well. The manager was the one who started Harvey Elliott left wing. What was the point in that? Cody Gakpo was signed to left winger. We brought on Nunes, and he took Nunes out there instead of Cody Gakpo. What is he doing? The midfield. We've actually had to play a 19-year-old. Sorry, he's 18. He's not even 19 yet. He's 18. An 18-year-old Spanish lad, because our senior pros aren't good enough. The tactics, useless. Useless. You've found a solution. It wasn't a good one. We did not play nice football, but sometimes you can't play nice football. But no. He's went back to 4-3-3. He's went back to 4-3-3 like it's a manipulative X, and he's got no backbone. And we've went back to shit. We are awful. We don't have any control in midfield. We actually got dominated by Chelsea's midfield, and I do not rate it. Mason Mount was useless, but he's apparently
that says a lot.
He's apparently the solution to our midfield problems. If we sign Mason Mount, I'm done. There's so many better midfielders. Mason Mount got dropped.
Take him. He's generational, bro. Trust me. Trust me, man.
You
brilliant.
can't pull the wool over my eyes.
Trust me, bro.
That's a man who got dropped for Jordan Henderson during the World Cup. He got dropped for Jordan Henderson. Is useless.
So Henderson needs to take him under his wing. Give him a year or 2. He'll be back to basics. Trust me, man. Trust me, man.
I think he would. I think Mason Mount would suit the way Klopp has played in the past. To be fair, you ain't exactly had any magical midfielders. Like you've had players that are. Yeah, but he could be your new Jordan Henderson, and maybe he can.
We'll give you Mount Light too. You can have Gallagher. 2 for 1
Mason Mount, could become your next best ever captain. After Henderson, your best captain is Gerrard in the modern era. Next could be Mason Mount. Top 3. There you go.
Exactly.
I don't want us to have a next Jordan Henderson. I think Jordan Henderson should be pushed away, and that should be like, you know, put in the drawer and locked away. We don't need another one.
Well, you will be Henderson 2.0, the improved version.
My manager's coming out and
we'll have a little update or some shit.
I heard according to you though, you're signing a new midfielder. You know,
are you still getting Jude or
James
no?
Milner.
Yeah,
a new contract for James Milner. Apparently, that's what you said.
My manager wants to give James Milner a new contract. That is all the problems at this football club. That is it in a nutshell. He wants to give Milner a new contract. And the worst part, Naby Keita's in line for a new one as well. The man has barely been fit for the past 5 years.
I'm not gonna lie, and no, I was gonna say something. I'll get in trouble for that. But the guy's playing like he's 37. I'm not saying he does look 37. The guy looks old. The guy looks beat. The guy looks finished. Oh, baby Keita, he's got to go. There is someone in the comments. I can't find his comment. Terry said Terry's playing down Liverpool's injuries. They're as bad as Chelsea's. They're just not. Like they've got players missing. They've got players missing, but they're not as bad. They're just not as bad. And one of the players missing for Liverpool has never kicked a ball for them in Arthur, so he doesn't even.
NA rating?
He doesn't. NA rating, nothing there, and it is what it is. And yeah, you've got some players missing, but let's not act like your injury crisis is anywhere near what Chelsea's is. Like that was my point. You've got a few players out, but Chelsea have literally got an entire team out, and with a better side. Yeah, go on, bro.
You know what the funny thing about Liverpool is? Just last year they were going for what was it? A quad. They were about to win potentially all 4 trophies. They were doing everything right. It's funny how things change so quickly. Was the writing not on the wall, Tom? Could you not see this coming, like, at all?
You could see like bits of it, like the issues we've had defensively. They were there at the back end of last season because we conceded in first and 7 of our last 11 games. But because we had a different mentality then, because we'd won a cup and we were on course for all these trophies, they had that mentality that they could just keep coming back and coming back and coming back. Now we have zero mentality, not a single drop of it. I'm watching senior pros out there getting outmatched, outran, outshone by 18-year-olds who don't even know the language. It's pointless. This club is in a state, and we're sitting there. We're going to have to get Stevie to fly out to Dortmund to try and convince him. That's going to be our method.
Who doesn't know the language?
Bajcetic.
Well, it's a bit hard to learn Scouse, isn't it? Your Scouse not English, right? So
he shouldn't even be playing. He's not even a DM. He's a centre back. He's a centre back that having to play out of position. And he was drowned. He looked a bit out of his depth, and he was still better than Fabinho.
But how are you guys going to convince Jude Bellingham? Because that's was the whole thing was we're not going to buy anybody or do anything because we're going after this one guy. But this one guy is a baller and could play for anybody. And if you guys are not in Champions League and you don't look like you can get back in it, what do you do from there?
We've got a phone contract. That's what we're going to use. We've got a phone contract in this club. Jurgen Klopp is ringing him every day, asking for updates, asking for talking on his personal life like he's his best mate. And I don't know if you saw, Steven Gerrard's happily going to fly out to Dortmund and try and convince him. We're going to run it back to how we used to do transfers 10 years ago when Gerrard was the only selling point at this football club. We're having to do that again. But this time he's not even associated with the club, but we need him to do that because you do not want to join this team. No player in their right mind wants to join this team because it is a sinking ship at the minute with no sign of where it's going. And my manager's sitting there going, "Oh, I've got the energy and the confidence and this, that, and the other to do for 10 more years." I don't want you here for 10 more years. I don't want you here for 10 more years. My patience is waning because all these issues that have been brewing and brewing and brewing, but you were getting away with it because the players were just finding another level and just finding another level. When they can't do that anymore, it's on the manager to change it. It's on the manager to fix it up. And so far this season, he's not fixed it up. He's made the problems worse. He's made them worse. We are not a team that should be in 9th place. We shouldn't be top 4 because we've not been that good, but we should not be in 9th place. I should not be sitting here going, I hope Fulham drop points tonight against Tottenham so the gap doesn't widen between us. That's how bad it is at the minute. And it shows no sign of changing when we're getting told we pushed ourselves out. We've got no more money left after signing Gakpo. I'm watching Chelsea break transfer records weekly for January spending. And I'm being told, 30 million to push. 30 million to push. We got no more money. It's a joke, man. It's a joke.
It's fun. That's not a joke. It's funny. It's funny. It's someone said this. I saw someone meme this up earlier. Said this is Liverpool this season. I saw it. It made me laugh. Because you just like Liverpool, Chris Eubank Jr. has got a very big mouth as well, and he got spanked out. Ironically, by a Scouser. At the weekend, which was a great fight. I hope you all watched it. Support the British boxers and all of that. But Liverpool fall off this season is mad because I think for a couple of years, people have been calling Liverpool out and saying, listen, everyone could see this coming. And I remember Jess getting very, very much verbally abused by Scousers all of last season for saying that she thinks they might fall out the top 4. She just feels that they're maybe getting on a little bit. They need to invest a little bit more. the end is coming. And it was almost, yes, the prediction for last season was wrong, but football isn't one season. Football is cyclical. It continues. It's everlasting. And it was what Jess said was right. Like, they were coming towards the end, and they had a brilliant season last year. But to fall off the way they did, they were running on empty. Do you know what I mean? For the majority of last season, and then a lot of people didn't see it. I didn't see it at the beginning of this season. I thought they'd come back this year, new signings, raring to go, bit between their teeth after just missing out. But the fall off is mad, and I think you're right, Tom. Jurgen Klopp has made this 10 times worse with not making the changes and or sticking to them. There's no doubt. The super chat here that says, "Can you really see Bellingham going to Liverpool?" I don't. It's from Ginger Fury. There's no doubt. This one here is about Chelsea. So I personally think Ten Hag would have been getting more out of this Chelsea squad. All Potter said about Mudryk is the fans would love him. He's exciting. Yeah, look, Graham Potter's not exactly dynamic, but you can't judge a manager on not being overly dynamic on camera. I think that's just my take.
I don't think anyone would be getting anything out of this squad this season, personally. But Ten Hag's still a quality manager. Nothing against him. Just our squad's crap.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, sorry, I was reading the comment from someone that's a little bit strange. There we go. This here says, first of all, Jessica, damn girl, what are you on about? I don't know. Let me know. Oh, you look really nice. Saying he wants a little piece of you. And fuck yeah, glory. Sorry, come on, you gooners. Egal, you are right. Come on, you gooners, is what's said there.
It's hot weirdo, bro. But anyway,
that was a whole mess.
Yeah, man. Jeez, go talk to women, man. Jeez, properly.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. Viewers, make sure you're hitting like and share buttons. I wanted to ask about another team fighting out for the top 4. They play tonight, but the big news is from Damasio that Antonio Conte will not be the Tottenham manager next year. Whether he's been sacked, whether he doesn't want to sign a new deal, I don't know. There's actually a super chat here from African Giant who says Antonio Conte, when asked about about Chelsea spending this window, he says, to be honest, I don't want to go into the situation because I've had lots of headaches. Also, Jess, you're yet to say anything nice about my club this year.
Who's your club then?
Yeah, you need to let us know.
He's Chelsea. He's on my streams. He's Chelsea.
Oh, I would never say anything nice. So don't hold your breath.
There we go.
Game is the game.
Yeah, of course. But I just want to set it up. So Conte's like talking about other clubs. I'm getting headaches. They're spending. We're not. Damasio has said that he's not going to stay on. Like, what's your take, Egal?
Why are we surprised? Why are we surprised? Antonio Conte and Spurs has been on, what do you call it? I would just say it's been a toxic situation based on the fact that we've always known that if he doesn't get backed, he's going to fight with the board or fight with the people there. And if he fought with Juventus and Chelsea, it was destined for failure eventually. He wasn't going to last there long. His contract's going to run out because they don't want to pay him out. Same thing that they did with Jose. Jose, it was cheaper that they got rid of him than they would have if he stayed. This time, it's cheaper if he stays until the end of his contract, or rather than him just get sacked. So they're not going to sack him. They're going to let him run down his stay until the end of the season, and the team and the club is going to be worse off for it. But you know what? They're going to save a couple pennies there and there. That's the reality. It's just them being cheap. That's what it comes down to.
Is anybody shocked? This here says, who would take on Conte after this, though? He's become a poison chalice unless it's a team with Bowley.
I think I know who. I think I know who. I smell a reunion. You see Harry Kane's thing today. Apparently, looking to maybe re-sign a new contract and literally sign his death warrant for winning no trophies. So I can only imagine that Pochettino might be back on the agenda again. I think maybe
Mr. Trick, mate.
But
maybe not Tuchel. Why is he gonna go there?
Because you know Tottenham just take up the Chelsea rejects.
Yeah, but just because they're clueless about it doesn't mean Tuchel. He's got Real Madrid and Bayern.
I think maybe even Brendan Rodgers might take. I think fans will take Brendan Rodgers.
The super chat, I think, said who would take on Conte, right? Not the other way around.
Clubs would still want Conte doesn't come out of this looking bad.
I mean, he doesn't even care. Like, he's getting paid so much. Do you see what managers are doing now? They're taking jobs that don't even work for them, and they're just because they know they're going to get the money anyway. You know how much people owe Jose Mourinho? He doesn't care. You know, like somebody will take him eventually. But in terms of like, is this shocking? Like, No, it's not. Spurs were never going to do exactly what Conte wanted because Levy is tight. Like, that's just what it is. Like, it was never going to work out long term. And we sat here on like this exact show talking about how this was not a long term project. This is them needing to get the most out of Son and Kane. And they fought back so badly, like saying it's a youth project because this player is young and it's fine and we're building something. No, you were trying to get the most out of Kane and Son. And both of those players, I mean, Son looks shot and Kane's future is uncertain. And now Conte wants out. Like, it's not that surprising. I don't know why Spurs just don't go back to like a manager that plays good football and just go with that. Because that's been the pinnacle of like what they've been about.
They haven't played good football since since Jose came in. Let's be honest. Even then, so it's been like a couple of years now. And as we were saying on numerous occasions, Tottenham are trying to piece together a succession plan, but they don't have one. They genuinely don't have a succession plan for Kane and Son. They don't have a succession plan for Poch. So they've been trying to hold on to this status of top 4 Champions League. And that's really their end goal. Their end goal is just to be in top 4. And it's nothing else because they just got into this new stadium. Imagine this new stadium just having no European football at all in a year's time.
Yeah, imagine that. They've also got a criminal. Also got a criminal working for them at the moment as well. So like things are all going down the pan for Tottenham. I don't know. You're right though, Egal. I don't know their succession plan because I think right, their best plan move this summer is to probably move on Kane for a big price and then reinvest it. But can you even trust their board as even a fan looking outwards to the inside to actually reinvest that 100 million or 60, 70 million properly?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The problem that they have is like they're so heavily reliant on Kane, and Kane is like a world-class striker, and there's not many of them out there. They're not going to be able to reinvest into anything similar to, and he has been carrying them for so long. Like they really don't understand. Like everything behind him is pretty average, like honestly. So it's really like a demolition job. Like I said before, like if I was them, I would just cut the crap, bring in Thomas Frank, see if you can get Tony to come with him and just start over. Because that's
that is an amazing plan.
You don't know about that. Ivan Toney's getting charged with 242 things at the moment. We don't know what's happening with him. So he might
not be allowed. I think the thing with Tottenham is that they just they never had a plan to be successful in the first place. They were never expecting to reach the levels that they reached. So now that they've got to try and sustain it, they don't want to because they were able to reach that level without spending. Why should they spend now when they're at that level? That's an issue that they've got, and the only way they fix that is by knocking themselves back down. The support to this building that they're trying to live in and survive off of 2 rotted, they need to just demolish it all and build it back up from the bottom. And it'll annoy Tottenham fans because they'll have had a golden era.
You know what is, Tom? I think their worst problem was really, I think this goes to show their worst issue was getting rid of Pochettino the way they did and not back him, but yet back the 2 managers in a way where they've never backed Poch before. He's never had 150 million to spend before. 100 million under Mourinho. You know what I mean? I think they made a big mistake.
I was just gonna say this: their whole situation right now, the fans have finally woken up because they realized that what they've been doing hasn't been working, and they're seeing their North London rivals doing what we're doing right now, and it's just making them realize that they don't have a succession plan, they don't have an idea, and this is why the fans are finally waking up and smelling the coffee. I don't think they wouldn't have done this unless they've seen us build a team from the ground up.
Yeah, listen, I look, we all know that Tottenham. You had George and Patrick last Thursday try to pretend like what Arsenal do doesn't bother them, and then you literally had that same evening, they lose to City, and there's City fans phoning into the radio shows. Sorry, Spurs fans phoning into the radio show celebrating because it damages Arsenal. You can't make it up. That's how a lot of their fans think. They're small-minded. If they can't be above Arsenal, they will be happy to scuttle off back into a little gap somewhere, a little cave somewhere, play pretty football, win nothing, and overhype the vast majority of their players again. That is what Tottenham will be happy to do. And I feel sorry for a lot of the Spurs fans, especially in our comment section, the Joshuas, the Jeromes of this world, and young Daniel, who are desperate to see their team try and become a giant club. Not a big club, but a giant club that strives to win trophies. They're not that. They've got a new stadium. which they are, they're more interested in turning that into a concert arena, an NFL arena, a mall. They want to celebrate the world's longest bar. That is far more important to Tottenham Hotspur than winning trophies. And I think them and Poch are a match made in heaven. It's a manager and a club that don't care about winning trophies. As Poch said, trophies they're for egos. They're not about what real football's about. That's the mentality of lose. It's like idiots that say money isn't everything. Yeah, that's what unsuccessful people say. Like, of course, there are more important things than just having money, but I've been poor, right? And I've had a bit of money. And I'll take having money every day of the week over being poor, because having money takes a sting out of it. Equally, when you're a football club, trust me, if you've never had trophies and you think actually the style of football's better, that means you've never won, because you don't know the sweet taste of winning. Equally, if you've never won anything, losing doesn't bother you that much either, because what's the difference? Win, lose, doesn't matter if you're not trying to win a trophy. Like this Spurs, like honestly, this year they've offended me so much. They've offended football this year, Tottenham fans. No, I mean it. They are the first fan base ever that are trying to convince the world, along with Martin Tyler, by the way. I like the guy, but I heard him doing this during the City Spurs game, and I just thought, how dare you say this about football? That Harry Kane can be a legend without scoring, with scoring goals, not winning trophies. Saying that strikers don't think like any other player. It's just about goals for them. Harry Kane wouldn't give up his goals for a trophy, and I'm like, that's hyperbolic. Of course, he may not give up every goal for one trophy. Like, would you give up all 260 goals for one League Cup? No. But would he give up 100 goals for 3 Premier League, a Champions League, an FA Cup, and 2 Carabao Cups? Yes. Wayne Rooney, who is the best English striker to play in the Premier League, whenever he was questioned later on in his career about, what about this record, that record, these goals, he just said, as long as the team's winning and we're winning trophies, I don't care. That's what every player says at the clubs that win. And that's why I've been annoyed by Tottenham this year. The way they're trying to redefine football for it being about the way football looks or the amount of goals you score. I mean, by that logic, Bruno Fernandes has got to be seen as better than Steven Gerrard, because he scored more goals one season than Steven Gerrard. It's dumb. It's dumb. You've got to put those medals on the table. Stats are important, but the medals have got to be there. And Tottenham, for me, I'm glad it's fouled with Antonio Conte, because it's embarrassing for them. That's the second best manager they've had since Sir Bill Nicholson, and their club didn't back him. And yeah, look, 60, 70 people turn up to the training ground and protest. The banjo was back out. We heard the songs. Well done. That'd be it. That'd be it. But I'll bring back Poch. And honestly, it's gonna be one of them things where it's, oh my God, he's back. It's gonna be different this time. Just like when people get back with their exes. Don't ever get back with your ex. Getting back with your ex-partner is disastrous. It's going to be an ex is an ex for a reason, but they're going to do it. They're going to do it, Tottenham, and I can't wait to see the fallout. It's going to be an absolute thing of beauty. And you mentioned something else earlier. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say that monologue right there is the most hurtful thing you could say to a Spurs fan, because you're not insulting their ego. You're not insulting anything. You're just literally stating facts. It's crazy.
It is all facts. Harry Kane, though, that there are talks, and we have to caveat this with what Ornstein has said, is that unless things like get bad at Spurs, he's seriously considering a new deal. If Harry Kane spends the rest of his career at Tottenham, what does that say about Harry Kane?
He's a loser.
We all knew that.
Yeah, he's a loser.
He's a loser. The guy's
got one chance to get out right now.
Loser. He even said on a video with Jamie, what was it? That Jamie Redknapp. He's like, I'll consider moving or something like that a couple seasons ago. If he doesn't leave or jump ship this summer and he signs a new contract, he's basically saying to the world that he doesn't give a shit about winning. He doesn't care about success. All he cares about is being a Tottenham legend, getting the goal record. And to him, that goal record might mean more to him than any trophy. Because for England, he hasn't been able to do it. For Spurs, he hasn't been able to do it. And let's be honest, his record in big games and in finals and everything else shows it that he doesn't have the winning mentality when the pressure's on.
Yeah, it just shows a lack of ambition to me, because you could get that record, you could get the trophies, and you'd still be a Tottenham legend. Like, I don't know a Tottenham fan right now who would look at the situation the club's in and think, you know what, fair play. For someone who's like 29, about to turn 30, literally giving his best years to the club, just saying, you know what, I'm tired. I need to win something. I need to have something to look back at the end of the season. I'm gone. No one can hold that against him. So the legend thing would already stick anyway. If he signs a new contract, he is not serious. He's not serious in any way, shape, or form.
What goal record is he after? Is he after the Tottenham one or is he after the Premier League
Alan
one?
Shearer.
Prem one. I think he's going to break the Tottenham one in a few weeks.
So then just go to United or something.
Exactly. It's set out perfectly. They need a
Yeah,
striker.
but I don't. I personally, I'm not being. I think Kane could probably play till he's about 34 years old at a high level. I think he's got that in him to actually and still get loads of goals. Maybe not as many. You might see his assists go up more a little bit. He might drop deep. Depends what runners he's got off of him, right?
He'll be one of the ones.
But at Man United,
back
if I'm gonna say he's 29, yeah, going on 30 in June, yeah. So he's got about. If I'm saying till 34, he's got about 4 years, maybe four and a bit years left in at the top game. I'm not I'm not doing it because I don't own Man United. But for me, in the way I'm thinking, I don't want to pay the 75 to 80 million that they're quoted that they want to get with a guy with 1 year left on his contract. I'm like, if I think he's got 4 years left or in his game, I'd rather wait till next season. I don't want to pay that personally because I think 65 million tops is like, cool, then we're getting ripped off, English tax, whatever. But that's my way of thinking.
If that was the difference between you being top 4 and title contenders, would it be worth it?
We all do this thing. We could talk on 100 million Mudriks, 100 million Nunez's. I don't know whatever you was prepared to pay for whoever. Money's always the thing.
It's Kane, but it's Kane though. It's certified goals wins you the title. I think.
Why would I want to give them? Why would I want to give? I don't want to give them 75, 80 million. I don't want to give Tottenham that money.
That's your money.
If they made you title contenders,
I want to give them that money. Yeah, it is because it is my money because it is my money because I paid to go watch United. I go there and if I want to invest into the club more, if they get new owners, I'll go to the store.
But so why it's not comparable to like a Nunez or a Mudryk is because both of those are a risk because they're like a little bit unknown, and they're young players, so we don't know what this is Harry Kane we're talking about. Like as much as it pains me, he's mustard. Okay,
I'd rather pay an extra 25 million. I'd rather pay an extra. I would rather part of my club in the way I'm thinking. I'd rather go get Osman or someone like that in this day and age.
That's going to be double the price, though.
I don't care. I don't care.
You'd rather spend 150 million for one striker or get the same thing for about 75,
He's not going to spend 150.
You know how hard Napoli are to negotiate.
That is so valuable.
Yeah, but Kane, you say not guaranteed, but Kane's not guaranteed to succeed at United either. There's no guarantee in anything in life.
No, you think Kane wouldn't succeed in the United system?
You never know. You don't know.
No, but what do you think? What's your opinion on it? Do you think he would succeed in the United system? Would he be the difference between you being top 4 contenders and title contenders?
Well, the way I look at Man United, we lack pace. We lack a lot of pace in the side. And the last thing I think I might want is, is someone slow like Kane that potentially won't succeed in like that. Because I feel like we need pace in the side, and Osman is someone he's got blistering pace. Good. I'd rather take a gamble on there. I'd rather take a gamble there than a gamble on Kane for 80 million. If a Kane was like 60 million, I was like, yeah, you know what?
The thing is, though,
I don't even think Osman's.
Let me just interject for a second. So I get where you're coming from with the pace thing, but Victor Osimhen, until he's 70, 80 years old, he will never be as good a football player as Harry Kane. Harry Kane is a superior football player to him. And a pass moves faster than anyone can dribble. So Harry Kane never has had the speed off the shoulder of a striker, but yet he's still got 15 Premier League goals this season in a team that doesn't attack. Can you imagine him with a team that attacks? All you've got to do, and Man United fans did this with Zlatan, and we got this so wrong. He's too slow. He's too slow. He's too slow. We haven't had a striker as good as Zlatan before or since him from when Fergie retired. He's been the best number 9 the club has had, and he had no pace. What we didn't have as Zlatan was enough quality with speed around him. And that's all you need to make sure you've got. And with Sancho, with Rashford, with
Sancho's not fast.
Well, but he's fast enough. I mean, I know everyone wants Mbappe pace, but how many players have got Mbappe pace, Rashford pace with Sancho skill? There's not many. If I finish my point, though, let me finish my point. Man United have bought, since Fergie's time at the club, players that you would consider having no sell-on value to being in their early 30s who gave us success. I mean, there's nonsense that you shouldn't do. Let me list these players out to you. Eric Cantona was bought 27. Teddy Sheringham at 31. Henningberg 27. Yapstam 26, just about to turn 27. This is no sell-on value or older. Dwight York 28. Barthez 29. You've got Gabriel Heinze turning 27. Van der Sar turning 35. Michael Carrick 26. Hargreaves 27. Berbatov 28. Robin Van Persie 29 turning 30. Zlatan was 35. Varane 29. And Casemiro 30 going on 31. And my point is, if you trust the manager if by the way, if Ten Hag says no, I prefer Usherman, I'm going to back him. But if our manager says right here, right now, the next 3 to 4 years, we could win Prems and Champions Leagues by adding Harry Kane, his age to me becomes almost irrelevant because I trust the manager, and it's worked many times for us in our past. This notion that you just have to buy young, I think is wrong. You look at Arsenal just done this. Some Arsenal fans were flabbergasted by Trossard, but he's not a kid. You weren't just going to keep buying kids. Zinchenko and Jesus weren't kids. They're not in their late 30s. It's about getting that mixture and balance right. And with Man United, we've got a lot of good young kids, especially in attack. What we actually need is some elder statesmen that can help us. And listen, if you said to me right now, right at this moment today, I could sign Usherman, Xisco, or Kane. I'm taking Kane in a goddamn heartbeat. I don't care about how old he is. This guy's going to bang goals and be a top player to 34, 35 years of age. And listen, I don't want to do a Liverpool. I don't want to spend 3 to 4 years building a team that can win. I want a team that can start winning straight away. And I think Harry Kane brings that to Man United massively.
I hear you. I would say no to. I would never say, but I would never say no to Kane. Like he said, if Eric Ten Hag wants him, I'm at that point where whatever my manager wants, I'm good with. Other than Cody Gakpo, and I never wanted him. I don't even know if he's made his debut yet. Like other than that, I'm good. But with me, I just don't know if I had the choice. I think I'd rather pick ARSMUN. Just because I don't know, man. Harry Kane's. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's a gamble, but it's just. But I get it. But I just like the way he's playing at the moment for Napoli. They play good football and they play up there. And I think we can do something similar. And I just want something for the next 5 to 10 years, rather than a quick fix. But sometimes maybe we need a quick fix at the moment.
I don't think Kane would be a quick fix though, because I think if you look at Harry Kane and the way he plays football, that's a man who could do 3 years up front for you. Then you go and reevaluate the striker market then, when it's a little bit more full, and you might find a better fit at a cheaper price, and then Kane just moves back into an attacking midfield or centre midfield because he's got the qualities to do that. He has the qualities to move back when his pace, which isn't really there anyway, but starts to dwindle.
Can't be your best player. Harry Kane can't be your best player. You're gonna need other players also.
Why can Harry Kane not be the best player?
No, because Harry Kane has shown on numerous teams that him being the best player, he can't get a team over the line. Maybe you guys can.
But that's just Tottenham, though. Like, it's Tottenham. No one's getting Tottenham.
The difference at United, Egal, would be he's got at Tottenham. It's no one wins anything at Tottenham. At United, he'd have Casemiro and Varane. United
winners. Tottenham have losers.
Mentality. So whereas when it was on Tottenham, it was a loser having to carry losers through. This would be someone where he doesn't necessarily have all that pressure of winning on him.
I get that. You could teach that, and you can definitely with other players around there. But I'm saying he can't be the only guy.
But it's up to him, man. It's up to him at the end of the day.
You're right.
Who's better than him?
Egal, but you're right though. I mean, technically, he could be the best footballer, but you're right, Egal. He can't be the only guy. But the club has Varane. The club has Lisandro Martinez, who just won a World Cup. It's got Casemiro as an example. I mean, we've got Marcus Rashford in the squad. The man has won 3 trophies, and like we've got other players. And Rashford for me is, he is a big game player. And that's just to name a few. United have got players that would also pick up. And that's where I think he'd be different at Man United. And I said it when Goldbridge said the other day he wouldn't take him. There is the ankles and the injuries, but I don't see the guy slowing down just because of that. That's the only real fair comment is the injury record. Other people, he wouldn't be the main guy at Tottenham like he's at Tottenham, where if Harry Kane don't deliver, nobody else does. And I think that some of the times they've got it wrong with Harry Kane was like the Champions League final. He should never have started. They should never have thrown him into that situation. He should have been on the bench only and coming on when he's fully fit. And England did it at the World Cup in 2018. He wasn't fit. He would burn out by the time. He weren't being subbed off in games. And sometimes you've got to know when to do that. And you get treated like that at England because we have there's no number 9 in England that's anywhere near his level. So it's hard to replace him. Spurs have never had a replacement. If he goes to a Man United, if he was at an Arsenal right now with Eddie Nketiah on the bench, Jesus in your squad, there are times where you could be 60 minutes into a game and you could say, Kane, you're coming off. We're going to put on Eddie Nketiah because you trust him. What do Spurs have? What have they had? Like, that's been the biggest issue, that what they've done to Harry Kane at Tottenham is almost gross negligence to what they've done to him as a player. The backups have been Jensen and the fake Mbappe or whatever his name is, who celebrated at Marina. Like, imagine doing that to Harry Kane. He should have had a striker around him pushing him. Remember when 2 summers ago, when they were trying to, they should have brought in, if they'd have brought in Lautaro Martinez to compete with him, that's how you keep Harry Kane fresh. Because it means you can rotate, you can give him time out. Doesn't have that. They even brought Richarlison in. No, he's been injured. but he ain't going to keep him out of the team either. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. But if he stays at Tottenham, honestly, I question the guy's sanity, let alone his ambition. It's
competition.
Also,
as well,
you have to
isn't it?
question who's his inner circle. Like,
Can't put a price on loyalty though, man. To be honest, sometimes it's like he might want to become Mr. Tottenham, innit? He might want to be the next. What's his name? Greaves. Something Greaves. I don't know his
Jimmy
first name.
Greaves won something.
Jimmy Greaves. That's the one. He might want to be the next one of those.
Loyalty in football doesn't. It might not exist in a couple of years' time. At this moment in time, to have some players that are loyal to clubs when they're in bad situations, you'll see that here and there. But realistically, when you retire, you're not going to be remembered for being loyal. You're going to be remembered for what you've won, and that's what people are going to write in the
story. No, do you know what, Egal? The worst part would be that is why Harry Kane's remembered, because he would go down as the greatest to never do it, because he'd have all these wonderful records of top scorer, most goals, this, that, and the other. It would look even worse if he doesn't have a trophy. But what was it all for?
You hear what you just said there? The greatest to never do it. I mean, it's hilarious. And part of me kind of wants that if he signs this new deal, because it would be absolutely hilarious. We have some super chats here. The first one says, Harry Jebediah Kane is built for Old Trafford. History tells us that United loves an England striker. Kane lifting a Prem at United clears anything Haaland wins at City. I mean, I'll endorse that if he's a Man United player, don't doubt. United need ball carrying DM, Enzo or De Jong. I'd take either right now over McTominay. There was a super chat here actually that I wanted to go to that said, a quick question: should a big club buy what's his name?
James Ward-Prowse. No chance. No, and no.
Do you know where? Why not? Why not, Kaz? Why not? I want to know why not.
I think look, he's one of them. I think he's one of them players that shine for your Southamptons and stuff like that. But when it comes to the big clubs and all that, he will just fade out, like kind of thing. It's like when Williams went to Everton, like he was a big centre back star for Swansea, captain, went to Everton, faded out. There's so many, I could use different examples now. I don't think James Ward-Prowse would be a great shout for a top six. I think he just fade out when it comes down to it. He's playing a level amount of games, cool for him. I think it's better for him to stay at a club like where he's going to be, the standout player kind of, if you get what I mean. I get it. He's a great free kick taker. He's great set pieces, if not probably the best in England or one of the best in Europe. That's what I can see maybe someone throwing him on for. Well, other than that, I just think he'd be taking up space.
He's 28 years old.
Anything, please give me him. I just need anything.
He's decent though. He's not crap. He's very decent. He's very good.
Listen, he's 28 years old. He's a good leader. He's a good player. I feel like if he went to anyone's team, he would be a serviceable player. And we're not saying he's going to come in and be your best midfielder in your team, but he'll definitely be in your midfield. For us at Arsenal, I don't know about his technical ability, but when it comes to his overall what he would bring to the table, I think he'd be a very good serviceable player in our team. And I would take him at Arsenal. I don't know about you, Jess.
I would not take him at Arsenal.
There's levels to this, isn't it? It's different.
Yeah, no, like I've never thought he was that good. I think he's so overhyped and overrated. His general gameplay is average to good, and then he gets away with it because he has free kicks. And for me, it's like, unless you have a special teams type of situation or a situation where you could just bring him in for 5 minutes to take the kick and then come off, I don't want him in my team. So for me, it would be a no. I think we need to aim a little bit higher. But like, if you're somebody that just needs somebody and he has 1 year left on his deal and he has it's going to cost you 20 million or something like that, maybe, but not for Arsenal.
And off the ball, let's talk about how not great he is off the ball as well. There's a reason why Lavian has to cover him, just to hide those deficiencies.
Yeah, I agree. I look at it this way: would I rather have Ward-Prowse coming in yesterday instead of McTominay? Yeah, absolutely. So I think he'd be okay at a top club. I don't think he'd be a starter and a sort of regular at a top club. I think he could be, a good Nicky Butt is how I kind of look at him. But this here from Keenan says, to flip the discussion on its head, if Kane stays at Tottenham and is able to get a Premier League trophy. For them, he will go down as an absolute legend. I mean, yeah, he would. If he could do that. Cam here says Mourinho better than Conte. I meant at the time they came in, the version of Mourinho Tottenham got, he wasn't at his peak anymore, where Conte still was. So that's the point I'm making in relation to that. But thank you. I think this is meant to say Jess is always so reserved on streams and videos, so she's 100% the craziest fan when the game is on. Just ask KJ that question. Keep up the good work, guys. Come on, you gooners. Thank you very much for that super chat. And there's some Arsenal ones we'll come back to later. This one says, Terry, is Gakpo a fast bowler? I don't really get it, but it made me laugh. Thank you, Michael Ramsey. Viewers, make sure the like buttons are being hit. Make sure you are subscribing to the Football Terrace. As we move on, we are going to get onto the United game in a bit, but there is a bit of Arsenal news first that the viewers have voted for first. Jeff, talk to me about Ivan Fresneda that you guys have agreed a fee for. Talk to us.
He's a Spanish right back, and he plays for Valladolid, and has come from Real Madrid's academy. I think Arteta really wants him. We need to replace Cedric in the squad. So he'd be a good option, a good long-term option. He's like 18, and a lot of clubs want him, including Dortmund and Newcastle are also interested in him. And so we've been chasing him the entire kind of window. He's a good player, from what I can see. A lot of people really rate him and stuff like that. I would like something like this to happen because we need to build the squad. We need to have good players in behind the players that are starting. Tomiyasu's great, but I would say Fresneda has a little bit more of that attacking ability. He plays more like a midfielder. And so he'd be a great addition. I think, us and Dortmund have agreed a £15 million fee, and then he gets to decide where he wants to go. And he wants to be loaned back to Valladolid. So, he wouldn't be somebody that comes in now. So we just have to wait and see. Dortmund is a really good place to develop. That kind of worries me a little bit. A lot of young players choose Dortmund because it's just a good place for you to go and just kind of do your thing without a lot of pressure. But then at the same time, everybody wants to come to the Premier League, and we're doing really well. So I'd like to see him come in. It's not a pressurized type of thing, but it'd be a good player to have in the squad for sure.
He needs to go to Dortmund. I wouldn't even go to Arsenal. I'll be honest. It's just because of the time of his age, or I don't even think he even starts above Tomiyasu or Ben White. I think you get loaned out if you went to Arsenal. I think Arsenal are in this position now where they're like, okay, I've got my set 11, I've got my squad coming in, the bench. This kid is just going to be there out for loan for when maybe Tomiyasu or Ben White gets injured, or maybe but if they get moved on in the next couple of years, right? I don't think he'll be a starter for them. I don't even think he'll be on their bench more time. He's young. He's young though, but I think I think you'd loan him out maybe to get more experience.
I don't think we would. I don't think we'd loan him out. He would take Cedric's spot, and the only reason why Tomiyasu starts in front of, because he's better than Cedric, but Tomiyasu is actually the second option on the left. Tierney is the player that's a little bit on the bubble, I think. So I think he would actually be the second option behind Ben White. And next season, we're going to have Champions League. And it's good to bring in players like that to play in the Champions League, I think. So I don't necessarily feel like he just shouldn't come to us, because Dortmund also have 4 or 5 right backs. And they just bought one in this window. Yeah. So it's not even guaranteed that he'll start there. It's a good place for development, but one thing that we have is Arteta's really good at developing young players, and I think that's a good that's a good sign as well.
Young, so yeah, it makes sense. Yeah,
that's probably the big thing. The fact that Dortmund aren't exactly short on right backs. I think that he'd break into Dortmund a year quicker than he'd break into Arsenal. So he'll sit there and go, "Is it really worth it?" And then maybe that Arsenal move never pans out again if it doesn't work out with Dortmund, sort of thing. So me personally, I expect to see him come to England and start to move up that pecking order, because from what I've read, he's basically Zinchenko at right back. Yeah. Maybe that's what Arteta wants to be able to do, to invert it. So instead of Zinchenko and White, he can go Tierney and whoever this bloke is, and then be able to just change up his system like that and make it more unpredictable. I think
another thing we have to look at is Mikel Arteta does tend to make a lot of changes when we're in multiple competitions early in the season. So maybe next season, when we obviously with Champions League coming and cup competitions, you could see this guy getting his game time in the Champions League or in those cup competitions, and then giving some players rest. And we do need a squad. So I think it's going to come down to where he sees the most game time, and potentially where he sees himself wanting to play in the long term. I don't know if he goes to Dortmund, he might just look at it as another place where he can maybe move on in a couple of years' time. It depends what his agents want.
It's one of those Yeah, it's one of those interesting signings, as you say. I don't know much about him, but I saw it as another, 15 million euros. It's another just, you guys were looking to spend a large amount of money on Mudryk, and it feels like that money this January has kind of been spread amongst the here and now and a little bit for the future. And it's what always happens. There are priority signings, but generally when you miss out on a priority, you go, right, well, where else can we start to backfill? What other priorities in the squad can we look at? And that's what Arsenal are now doing. And let's see what works. I mean, Arteta's success rate of buying players is astronomically good. It's about 77%. And if the Trossards and this new centre back Jacob work out, the man's moving at an 80% hit rate in his early career, and that's pretty
Also Mudryk.
good.
That's a bit of his recruitment there. If Mudryk is a hit as well. And
Alessandro Martinez, you could take credit for that, and as well, he can have that credit as well. We'll give that to you. Go on, mate.
I was gonna say what you just said. The first sentence that you said is absolutely right, because we've gone and taken that Mudryk money and said, you know what, people keep questioning our squad depth. We're gonna go fix that up right now, and try to take advantage of a January window by improving our squad depth. Most teams would maybe add 1 or 2 players in a January window. We're looking to maybe add 3, potentially even a 4th if we can get a midfielder. So that's massive for us.
Absolutely. Viewers, hit like and share buttons for us now. Arsenal beat Man United yesterday. I don't know if anybody's aware of that. And yeah, it was the scoreline was close, 3-2. The narrative around the game has been kind of crazy for me looking at it from the back side today. Yesterday, a lot of praise for Man United. Today, more actually, no, we smashed them statistically. 24 hours later, how are you feeling about it, Jess?
I think I do think Man United played really good in that game. I said that on the post match. I thought they gave us a really good game, and they pushed us all the way to the end. We really had to kind of like dig deep and have that mentality and get that third goal. But I do think that there's like a small element of like, for me, just a little bit of disappointment where I do feel like we're maybe not getting enough credit for being pretty dominant in that second half. As good as Man United were in the first half, I do think that we were pretty comfortable, and I don't think Man United really posed that much of a threat in the second half. So it was a little bit like, okay, I get the scoreline was close, but our Arsenal played really well, and we had a good mentality, and a lot of the questions that keep being answered we're answering. And so, yeah, I get why some Arsenal fans were, a little bit disappointed, because the narrative is that it was like this, it was so close. And like, yes, it was on the scoreline, but I do think that towards like the 60th minute, it started to become pretty much Arsenal coming down one-way traffic and Man United kind of batting down the hatches. I saw a lot of Man United pundits and stuff kind of saying that towards the end, it was just kind of like go for the draw. And so I didn't hear that being said. Like, it was mostly just like, it was like this nail biter and it was so even. I don't necessarily feel like it was that way, but either way, we got the 3 points. We did what we needed to do. And we were the better team, and I think we deserved 3 points. And yeah, but Man United fans have tons of things to be positive about. I won't renege on that and take that away, because I do think it's true.
I think, Terry, more people are just saying the scoreline was a little flattering based off of, if you look at the underlying numbers. I get people saying that, but football is not played on numbers, right? We see teams that have almost like barely any XG still get 2 or 3 goals in a game. So that is I think the main thing people are talking about. But for me, going back to the game, I felt like, as Jess said, we just constantly keep breaking narratives. It was come February, Man City are going to be back above you. Come the World Cup, we weren't going to be here. After a couple games, we didn't play anybody. We beat Chelsea, Liverpool, and Tottenham, and it's like, oh well, they're still not that good this season, so it doesn't really matter. But now it's just like, what's the next narrative that people are going to put in front of us that we can beat? Because it's like, this Arsenal team is legit, and I don't know when people are going to realize that we are the real deal, and what we're doing this season is on the cusp of trying to get that Premier League. And once we get it, then maybe people will be like, you know what, we got to give them credit. Because I don't think until we actually go over the line and we win the Premier League trophy, there's going to be people who are still going to be questioning this team up until that point, and it's fair. We are supposed to do, it's on us and our team to continue to face adversity, face criticism, face everything, and get over that line. And until we get over that line, I want them to continue to throw pelters, because it's just going to make us a better team. And shout out to Zinchenko and Man City for giving us Zinchenko, because this guy is the antithesis of this team and the leadership that we have in this team. He actually came in, and first thing he said to the team is, forget about top 3, top 4. We're trying to go for the Premier League. They laughed at him, he said, and now they actually believe it. And it's like, that is what I want. That is what I want from my team. The winning mentality is coming through, and you guys can see it for that with that last minute winner.
I hear what you're saying there about the narratives. We'll come back to the game later, because we've kind of gone into the Arsenal narrative now. Rivals. Do you think Arsenal should get or deserve more credit from us as rivals? Because I feel like a lot of Arsenal fans want that. They're like, well, why are we still not getting enough credit, enough plaudits? Why are we continue to being written off? Like, from your Carefree Lewis, you're a Chelsea fan and no love lost there. Do you feel it's wrong that rivals are not praising Arsenal more for what they're doing this season?
No, because I think Arsenal are being praised. Like, I don't think anyone's trying to take away from what Arteta's done, how the squad's playing game in and game out. I think there is a genuine respect for the way Arsenal play and the consistency that they've shown. Whether they can do it on a 38-game basis is still a question mark. And that's probably still going to be a question mark for the next month or two. But I don't know. It all depends on what they're asking for. If you're asking whether we think Arsenal are on a title charge or contenders, that all depends on the perspective. But I think overall, Arsenal definitely are getting respect now. You can't look at Arsenal and think, oh, these are the same bottle jobs from last season or 2 or 3 years ago. No, this looks like a completely different Arsenal side. Every game that Arsenal played, there's about 4 or 5 players that could easily be considered man of the match. And that's a sign of a very, very good team when you can't figure out who's the best one out of the lot. But the question is, can they do it over 38 games? They don't look like they're going to drop off anytime soon. I think the last little question mark is going to be when they play Man City on the 15th. If they go and they get a result against Man City, even I'm not going to try and say anything by that point. By that point, I could consider Arsenal as title contenders. But I understand the reservation. It's still the first season where Arsenal have been at this level, where they have been competing and at the top for this long. When we've seen Man City come back from 8-point gaps, 10-point gaps, 11-point gaps numerous times, I wouldn't blame people for still thinking City could come back, but there is an acknowledgement now that Arsenal are a serious football side, and I don't think any rival fans saying differently now.
They just keep finding a way. They just keep finding a way, and that's the biggest praise you can give them, because that's what every great team that wins stuff is always given the big credit for. They've always found a way to get the right results this season. And that, like you said, doesn't seem like it's slowing down anytime soon. The players, they're all bought into the system. If Saka doesn't turn up, Martinelli or Nketiah, everyone thought that when Jesus was gone, Nketiah would be, that would be the start of the downfall. He stepped up into the role. That Arsenal team has just come together at the right time. And people will try and discredit them because, Liverpool, Chelsea, they've not been at that level. City haven't been that dominant best that they've been for years gone by. Credit to Arsenal for capitalising on it. Credit to Arsenal for being in the position to capitalise on it. And even if let's say City and Liverpool were at their dominant best, Arsenal would still be right up there. Their point total would still have them right up there. So no, can't discredit them in the slightest. And
even if they don't win the league, they're still going to get respect from a lot of rivals. I don't think it's going to be like, oh, you've bottled it now. So no, fair play. You've gone a lot further to first place than I even expected.
I don't think
I don't know about that though, Lewis. Because for me, there's a comment here I want to put up. It says, Terry, you're asking the wrong question. We don't need recognition from our rival fans. We just don't want these false narratives that analysts build about us. I would say this. I know for a fact that about Arsenal fans say this to me, that they want rivals praise and they want more recognition from them. So you may not want, but some Arsenal fans do. But I will temper it with saying this. I know I've praised Arsenal this year, so it's not on me. But I remember Liverpool winning the Premier League for the first time ever, first league title in 27 years. And we were all sitting on a stream, and half the chat and most of the panel were laughing at them, saying, yeah, but you said it was going to be an invincible season. You said it was going to be an invincible treble. Arsenal fans that are young and don't remember winning, even when you win, people are going to look for caveats. Some will say, yeah, only because City, Liverpool and Chelsea fell off that you did it, as an example. The same as if next year Man United win the league, it'll be discredited with, yeah, but you spent money. Man United have a midfielder and a winger who collectively have around 20 league titles, 4 Champions Leagues, more FA Cups, most decorated footballers in English football history. And rivals have created a narrative that both Scholes and Giggs were average footballers. And the reason I use that as an example is rivals will praise you a little bit, but they will always look, if they can, to shoot you down. And you've just got to, to a degree, learn that that's part and parcel of football. You're never going to get the best of both worlds. And the irony in it is, if your reaction to it is, well, I'm going to shit on their good things as well, we'll expect the cycle just to continue. And that's the way it's going to go. So I think, right, again, for me, I agree with you, Luke. I have seen a lot of rivals. I was sort of looking today on what people say, but people are also very insular as well. And there'll be they'll kind of, in a tweet that's like a paragraph, there might be a line in it that says, oh, we did well against the best team in the league. But the rest of the tweet is about Man United. I still think that's because United fans are always going to look at things from a United perspective. The same as Egal will always look at something from an Arsenal perspective. And I think that's relatively normal for all of us. But the pundits, I do agree with. Like, Kaz, do you feel like the Talk Sports and the Gary Nevilles of this world are still being a little bit disrespectful to Arsenal?
Richard Keys.
And I'll do it tomorrow. I'll be the same tomorrow. I don't care. I hate Arsenal. I don't want to give them no praise until I want to, innit? Right now, you lot have all giving them praise. Now I've ran out of juice. I want to praise them. Well done. You won yesterday. Good luck. Don't bottle it now. That's what I'm going to say on them. And that's me being salty. And rightfully so. I will be, and I will continue to be, and always will be, because I do not like that fan base at all.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm Terry. I don't know if you've seen this, but there was a United contingent. I don't know if there's a big group of them, but a small contingent of them that were saying you guys got robbed. That was offside.
But again,
wait, did you say Richard Keys? Oh, forget that, man.
Yeah, listen, I saw a guy tweet. I think it was United Ellis or someone like that put it out, and like my response to those accounts saying we were robbed and whatever. Listen, I said it yesterday during the game. Arsenal were the better team. We faded, especially in the second half of the first half. We faded massively, and that was due to, we're 6 months into a rebuild. We're against a team that are 3 years in, and we're against a team at home who are the best team in the country. We had some players missing. We haven't quite got everything together how we want to have it yet. Overall, I was happy. But then I did read something. There's 2 things that annoyed me. Was one, seeing United fans not take the defeat graciously and say, Arsenal were the better team. Proud of what we're doing. This whole we got robbed thing, offside goals, this nonsense is embarrassing. But you have to understand why people tweet that. It's like about 80% of your tweets, Egal. 80% of your tweets are not exactly what you think, but you're like, this is banter or it'll go viral. It's a bit of fun, right? You're not actually sitting there thinking those things every day. How do I know that? I'm a content creator as well. And you're like, okay, well, this is what I think.
No, Gal actually thinks them things. Don't worry. Trust me.
No one does. No one does. 100%. When you make TikToks, you do it in a way that it's like going to be a bit quirky. You can take the mick out of people. That's what those accounts are doing. I don't understand how we take tweets from non-real people, not fake people, but someone that isn't showing their face and showing their real name. Why would you ever pay it any attention? There's an Arsenal account called Arsenal Jonas Arsenal, and all he does is say Man United are crap. He don't bother me. I don't know who he is. He won't show his face. You know what I mean? He's a legal name ain't on show. Like, it's not a thing for me, like, personally. The other thing that annoyed me was Man United fans in the build-up talking so much chess, like we were going to come to Arsenal and smash him. For me, you're one of the biggest reasons we lost, because I believe in fate. And when you give it Billy Big Bollocks, when you're the underdog, expect to lose. Be like the amount of people I've seen today. I got sent clips. Oh, I think we'll smash them. We'll take them on. I'm like, I know people say, you got to back your club. There's backing your club, and then there's being delusional. And for me, a lot of these people are just showing a lot of people do this. They show their asses. So when it goes wrong, everyone, I'm going to go watch their channel. I'm going to go to their Twitter account because they said they were going to win. It's just so set up. You knew you were going to lose, but you pretended like you were going to win. So
I disagree.
After losing. I don't disagree.
I disagree because I thought we could have went. I thought we could have went to the Emirates and nicked something. Honestly, I thought we could have nicked something.
But that's fair.
Listen to my language. I said that. I said, I'll take them. Yeah, we'll go there. We can take them. We're better than them. So you got, listen,
Yeah,
the language is very key. I
Liverpool's
said
smashing
we could nick it, and but in the last five, what if we could have got a counter attack and scored in the last 5 minutes and won the game? That could have happened. But the notion we were going to go there, dominate the ball for 90 minutes, be the better team, and definitely beat them. Anyone who said that's a fucking liar. They don't believe. No one believes it.
There's people out here. Their whole brand is to hate on Arsenal. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, they built a brand of hating on Arsenal, so they're gonna continue to do it. That's how they do their thing. And you know what? Credit to you. You get the followers off it. I rate that.
Yeah, but Gal, let's not play devil. Let's play devil advocate,
Yeah,
man.
that.
You also have this thing where you also hate the next fan base, Chelsea fan base, and so forth and so forth. We all do it, bro. Let's not act like this because you're on the high horse with Arsenal at the moment. We do it, bro. You done it last season. You got called out for it bare times, bro. Come on, man. It comes with the territory, though. Just don't try to put your hand. Don't try to play like you're an angel right now, man. We all do it, bro.
Don't do that. First things first. I'll come on here. I'll credit certain people when they deserve it, and I'll make jokes about them when they deserve it. I'm not gonna continuously build a brand off of hating on one specific team, even when they're doing well. I've come on here numerous times. And I've credited Tottenham even when they were doing relatively good. And I've made fun of them.
Yeah, but you also post hella anti-Chelsea tweets just for the likes.
That's
fine. I do the same thing. 2020 Arsenal slander was cash money. I understand it, bro.
It's all right, man. It's not an Arsenal agenda. It's what
by the way, I'm saying there's nothing wrong with it. My point is, I don't take them. I join in with those tweets. I've quote tweeted and like things that Lewis has said, but it's the people that take them seriously. That's the weird bit for me.
Oh, yeah, United Ellis and all that. Yeah, of course.
That's strange. When it's a real person, like Jason Burt is their name, and they're putting out an opinion, I take it a bit more seriously because you're really putting it out there. When someone's a content creator or they're looking to go viral, I kind of get it. But one thing I did see this weekend is the Arsenal Man United rivalry is back with a vengeance. I've seen like some of the stuff I've seen, some of the tweets I've had back just for saying I'm happy, I'm proud of my team is mad. Like some of the stuff that doesn't even need to be said. But I did want to ask another question though, because I got called embarrassing today. Because I got called embarrassing today because I basically put out a few tweets and said a few things about like congratulations to Arsenal, but I'm proud of the progression of Man United and what we're doing. And a lot of Arsenal fans have sort of said to me like, yeah, I thought Arsenal were pretty good, same as Jess has done. But it's now kind of been called by some people like embarrassing that I'm happy to accept like a participation certificate and stuff like that in terms of being happy with United's progression. Is Man United's progression being overhyped? Is my question.
No,
you're allowed to be happy. It's just people nowadays are hyperbolic about everything, Terry. You can't. It's almost like, you know, when Liverpool did the celebrating the draw thing, people are like, they don't want people to be happy about things that they view as not success.
You're right there, Gal, man. No one likes people being too happy, man. A bit like Mickey Cartel in the comments with that. You're happy to come on my channel and talk to me different, but as soon as you come on to Football Terrace and get in the crowd of 5,000 people, you change up, man. People change every day, man. People don't like happiness.
Who changes up?
Oh, Mickey Cartel in the comments, man. He's always on my channel, but he wants to try to throw names. But as soon as you get to Terrace, it's like people that get brave as soon as they get around a crowd of people. Do you get what I mean? It's just
I don't think United is overhyped though, because
Nah.
They weren't expected to be top four. Like, I don't think anyone predicted United to be a serious top four contender. Everyone was saying they could potentially nick it, but they're expecting the Europa League finish, and it'll take time. United have looked really good. They've looked really good, and yes, there is a reliance on certain players, and it's not a free flowing thing yet. But they're looking better than 16 other teams in the league. That's not overhyped when they were supposed to be worse than this. Then you're not saying you're going to start challenging for titles and everything.
It is also banter though. It is also banter though, because like I was one of the people who were like, "Yo, Man United, welcome to the title race," knowing that you guys are in the title race, but like just to see who runs with it, And you know what? Some of your fans do run with it, and then now when you lose, they're like, "Oh, people are saying you're overrated." It's like, which one was it?
Nah, man, it comes with the territory. If you can give it, you should be able to take it, man. Pause it, however you want to take that. But yeah, man, it is, man. If you're gonna hide and not come on screen like some Tottenham fans when they lose, but want to give it, you know what I mean? It's what it is. But
I think what you said there, it's just you can never get a full agreement from everyone. There's always going to be someone that disagrees with your opinion.
No, I agree, but do you know what I think it is? It's like if somebody was like, "Oh, listen, the loss feels better because Arsenal fans are saying we played well. I kind of get that that's an embarrassing take because the loss doesn't feel better. I think the difference is this, and I can't speak for all United fans, just myself, but I've spoken in a group chat today and a few agree. This is the first defeat I've had to a top 6 team in 10 years where I didn't feel like I was staring into a big, deep, black, dark hole. There is light at the end of the tunnel for Man United. The Glazers are selling. The football's getting better. We're falling in love with Ten Hag in this team. It's disappointing, but we brush ourselves down and we move on to the next game. In previous years, it's just felt like another 10 steps backwards, but with nothing really to look forward to. And there might have been a few nice moments in between. They've kind of been, we had some good moments under Jose, a few good moments under LVG, and a good run under Ollie at the beginning, there's no doubt. But we always felt in our heart of hearts, we were just in the pits. And I think that's why, for me, I look at the progression above and beyond everything else. Of course, I wanted to win yesterday. Thing is, what they didn't know in the studio is I was ahead of them all because I had to get the thumbnails and the titling ready. I was about a minute ahead checking up on live score. And I knew the third goal went in before anybody else in the room. And I just had to keep it quiet. And I felt the anger boil up inside me. But equally, I was sort of like,
look how far we've come.
As well. Like, it was one of those things where I expected, my honest thoughts in the build up to the game were, I knew we could nick something, we could get a draw. But I had a horrible gut feeling that Arsenal were going to be 2 or 3-0 up in 20 minutes.
As soon as Bruno, we got to criticize when we can constructively. Eric Ten Hag got it wrong again. Like he done against Palace, putting Bruno on the right was going to always kill us. When you got Weghorst up front as well, he's not exactly the most mobile, but in the first half he's doing his press very well, and I was liking it. I was like, cool, we got what we got. But I wanted us to be a little bit more positive. I said, you know what, Arsenal are good, but they're not playing as great as they always have. But then they started picking up a little bit more, and I thought, you got to be putting Garnacho on as another outlet, and then bringing off Eriksen, which came off way earlier for Fred, kind of thing. It's like little things like that. It's against Palace. As soon as Bruno came on, Mitchell had a great run at him because he knows he's not catching up to him. Same as Zinchenko says, I'm faster, and they can get away from Bruno quite quick. And as soon as that happened, in the 70th minute, you saw Zinchenko starting doing the overlaps across Wan-Bissaka, and that's where I just knew. I was like, oh, this is bad, man. Something's gonna happen at the end of this game, and I can't see us doing anything. We're so encamped. But you know what I don't get, Terry, is the Man United fans who go on there and start slagging off all the players currently and say, oh, it's this player, like he should not be at my club, this, that. Like Scott McTominay as well. He's not the greatest player in the world, but he has barely played any minutes, since Casemiro's coming to the side. And it's like, bro, we got what we got. It is what it is. And then the other ones want to start, like Mark Goldbridge wants to go out there and start calling out the Glazers that they're not funding this. I'm like, bro, we're getting sold. Why are they going to accept any sort of funds to go in and get a midfielder or something? We're broke.
Yeah,
there
was a lot of when we're broke because of multiple failed rebuilds, and there just isn't enough money left. We're still playing off players we signed that have now left. Like we've failed so badly as a club at that. But
we lost because we lost, man. That's it.
We lost on the day because we lost. Like I get that. I think for me, there's a pseudo outrage towards players. We all know that a lot of these fringe players are not going to be here in a couple of years' time. It's almost a case of I get being frustrated, but the kind of for me, I thought it was a day where everyone go, right, I've not been able to be angry about United for a couple of months. This will get the followers up. This will get my likes up. I just felt like the outrage was so. I even saw people like get angry at the goal going in. But if you actually watch their watch-alongs closely, because I do this with the fan channel review show, you could see them having to hide their face because the noises they were making them laugh. And if you're acting angry and that noise you're making makes you laugh, you're faking it. You're literally faking it. And if you're in bed with your missus and she's making a noise and she starts laughing at the noise she made, she ain't real, bruv. You didn't do it. You didn't hit the spot. And I saw Man United fans faking their anger on watch-alongs yesterday. And I'm thinking to myself, this is mad. Support your football club, for God's sake. Jess, do you think Man United are getting overpraised after this? For their rebuild in general?
No, I think rebuilds are what they are. Like, not everybody's is exactly the same. I know that there's a lot of comparison around rebuilds. I don't think, because yours looks like it's going faster than ours, that it's this, or I need to defend mine or anything like that. Because all that matters is you get back to the top and you're playing good football and you're winning games. So I don't think it's being overhyped or overpraised or anything like that. My concern is always around, like, do I feel like my team is getting enough credit for what we did. I think in some sectors we really haven't, and it's been like focus on Arteta, focus on, you know, the fact that the score instead of what's actually going on in the game, you know, things like that. But in terms of like United getting overpraised, this is kind of what I wanted when we were originally going through like our original like last season, and we started seeing green shoots and we started playing games and we were better than we were the season prior, and we could see things and be positive. What United are doing and the praise that they're getting is kind of what I would have hoped for Arsenal, because we did not get the same, yeah, you guys did good. It was very much like you lost the game, you know, so nice that they're getting it, but no, it's not being overpraised. Like they're doing really, really well.
I think you said,
go on.
Terry, Henri said something. You posted that. What was that about? I didn't really get to read it.
Sorry? On what?
Terry Henry said something on TV.
I posted a quote. I mean, it's funny because I've seen a lot of aggregators share it. Some people are saying it's fake. Some big accounts have shared it as well. I don't know, but I mean, the sentiment within it. I read it and I was like, what was it? Whether it's Henri saying it or whether somebody else had pretended it's Henri, I agreed with a lot of what was being said. It was simply saying that I'm happy that Arsenal have won and Arsenal deserve the win. But you're talking about a project 6 months in versus 3.5 years, just over 3 years in, I think it is, along those ways. United went toe to toe, were very good in the first half and faded. And I kind of read it, and I don't really care who said it. If that was said by Joe Nobody, I'd still have shared it as an example. Someone just sent me the quote in my DMs. They said that he was talking for I know he works for CBS, so I just assumed he and Amazon he said it, but I agree with him. And this is, again, I agree with what Jess is saying. For me, like, I take nothing away from Arsenal yesterday, but looking at it as a United fan, I'm very happy with that kind of progression. And, you know, I think if we continue to grow at this rate and buy right in the summer with new owners, I think we'll challenge for the title next year. I think there can be that much growth that quickly. And I think one thing I would say, I think why Arsenal maybe didn't get the praise from certain people, rightly or wrongly, is Ten Hag's a more established manager who's won things, who had a bigger CV. I think Arteta, having achieved little to nothing in his career, he won the FA Cup first time around, but no experience. I think when you started to improve, some people just saw it as, well, I've seen loads of bad managers go on good runs as well. They're all wrong for thinking that. They're all wrong for thinking it. But I think that may be why some did it. But equally, we know some people have agendas. Like,
you know what I don't like, Terry, yeah?
I
hate, you know what? It sounds weird coming from me as a United fan as well. You know, all these pundits coming for Arteta because he came off his touchline or whatever you want to call it. But when Klopp does it and all this, these man do it there, they don't get nothing. Oh, he's just showing passion. I don't like that because it's not the same energy. And you know what Sky Sports are doing, man? They know exactly what they're doing exactly. And I just don't get it. It's like they can't bring it within themselves, these old rivals, the Roy Kings and that, to talk about Arteta in a good light for what he's done. And it's just like, mate, it's just like, you can't give someone credit when it's due, mate. But yet you're quick to point fingers when the guy's got a smile on his face all the time, like Klopp, or even when Tuchel done it down the line. You know, Ferguson used to come off the technical area a lot. You know, like it's still things like that.
No, I agree completely.
Narratives are horrible, man.
That stuff certainly is. I wanted to ask a question before we go into the super chats. Is this Arsenal's title to throw away now?
Terry, Arsenal just announced a player. The Jakob, what's his name?
Oh, okay, the guy. Okay, the centre back, the Polish guy.
Kivio.
Yeah, I'm just calling him Jakob.
Kivio. That's his Kivio. Well, Kivio is his name. Yeah.
Oh, he's just been announced. Yeah, we knew. I think Richard said it was going to be done today. His medical's done, but yeah, he's in. Another player for you, another backup. But on that, Egal, is this your title to throw away now?
100%. I think we respect Man City and what they're capable of doing. We know they're capable of going on a run, but at this moment in time, I feel like we're in the driver's seat. I know it's only 5 points, but we also have a game in hand, and we're going to be coming up against them very soon in the FA Cup. It's going to be we're going to be able to test ourselves against them in the first time. But for the level of consistency we've shown and the fact that we're trying to get squad depth and improve our squad, I feel like it's on us. Yes, we might not have the experience, and hence why people would say City are still their pick to win it. But for me, I think it's in our hands, and we just need to continue to keep the good times rolling, because I see City dropping. To say every time we drop points, I think City are going to drop points also, because I don't see the same level of consistency from City defensively or offensively that I've seen from them over the last couple of years.
Kivia is good player, by the way. Left-footed as well, for people that don't know. So he's there to cover Gabriel. You know, people might not have noticed him, but he was in the World Cup for Poland, who kept quite a handful of clean sheets. Didn't really score though, but you know, he's a very, very decent player. And the last thing anyone wants to do is probably doubt the talent ID of Arteta and the backroom staff for the scouting and stuff. Do you get what I mean? So I'm pretty sure they got a gem on their hands there.
I get that.
Yeah.
Is it there to throw away, Kaz? Is it?
Oh yeah, no. Oh, 100%. Oh, 100%. I'm sorry. That's a massive gap with a game in hand. And you know what? Is he? And when it comes to mid-Feb, when I think they got, is that Emirates, by the way?
Are we playing the first game in the Emirates? I think we are. I'm not sure.
Is that the Emirates? Because someone in the can people in the comments?
In the FA Cup?
No. It's in the Emirates. In the league. So when you lot beat them at the Emirates, because it is a fortress, as you lot claim now, and it looks like it is the case. Last time you lost there was against Brighton last April. It's gonna be over, man. It's over. I can see it. And have you actually seen your fixture list for the next month or so ish? Very nice. That's all I'm gonna say. It's very nice.
What? Jesus will come back by February 15th, hopefully. And then I'm not saying he's going to be in the team like playing right away, but he might just be in the squad. And that right there just goes to show you, if we're still in the first position come when Jesus comes back, everyone thought we're going to crumble by now. I don't see that happening. I generally just see us continuing this going. And I feel like last season, the fall off that we had last season for top four, that might be the education that these guys needed, because it's really made them a better team for it.
Yeah. What are you saying, Lewis? Do you feel like it's Arsenal the favourites for this now?
All depends on the City game for me, because right now you're still 5 points in front of City, right?
Yes.
It's around 5 points. So City win home and away against you guys, they're above you in the league. I think it all goes to that game on the 15th. If you get a result against Man City, you beat them, no one can say anything from that point. Because now you got a gap that City can't just catch up based off 2 results. You got a massive gap on them at that point. So until then, I'd still say the question's out there. But I mean, Arsenal are just silencing critics with every passing week. So what do I know, innit?
How about yourself, Jess? Like, are you feeling like that now? Like you're the leaders of the pack, or even though you have this 5-point gap, do you still feel like second favourites who are just ahead of the game right now? Like, how do you see it at this point?
I kind of agree with everybody else. Like, I think we're answering the questions, and for me, I'm not really looking for people to say Arsenal are going to win the league. Like, that's not really what I'm saying, because it's a long way from now, and Manchester City are what they are. So they could catch us up. You know, I need to see us play them first. And that's why this FA Cup game, like, even though I know they'll probably play a rotated squad, I just need to see what we look like against them. Like, it's just been so long since we played them. And I think if I feel like we can go toe to toe with them, then I'll feel more comfortable with it. But we're in a really good position and we have to push for it. That's why getting in the January window and reinforcing the squad was so important. And you just never really know when this situation is going to arise again, when you're going to have like a not so great Chelsea and a not so great Liverpool, and, you know, kind of one real challenger next to you. So I think it's important for Arsenal to push. I think we need to see ourselves as title contenders and feel like we can do it. But this is nowhere near done, you know. So, and I think Arsenal fans just need to take it game by game, believe that we can do it, but like don't go too far. And I think the team are taking it game by game as well.
Egal, what did you say as well, by the way? That just quickly reminisce on that. Did you say that you're going to win a league now?
I think we can do it, and I think we
no. Is it? Ooh, is it? That's narrative's changed.
Did you hear what I just said?
Nah, because that's all I needed to hear. Because Egal, you said to Daps, if we're top of the league by January, we are going to win the league 100%, and that were your words.
That's what I just said.
Thank you very much. No, you didn't. You said we could. There's a difference. Are you going to or not?
Are you listen to what I said? I said
you said you could win.
I said we can do it. I said we will do it. That's what I said.
You started talking before he finished his sentence.
Yeah, I was making sure, man. Just making sure he didn't crumble, man.
I got sent a DM by
I love it.
a friend of mine who said, Terry, the reason why I don't think certain rivals are going to praise Arsenal is because we were all part of a failing pack for a long time and we've seen them leave. He said it's a bit like when that local lad does good and suddenly all these old friends from the estate start hating on him. And I'm like, that's true. We had a friend of ours who did really, really well on the estate we grew up on, and a lot of people turned on him because he had a successful business. I think that's what a lot of it is. It's like we were all in the mud together, and now you're not in the mud and you're doing well and you're driving a nice car and you bought a nice house. I'm going to hate on you because I don't like my own life. I think that's what a lot of it is. Some super chats here. First one from KC2 says, with a few more top quality signings, Arsenal can build a strong second. Happy with Eddie, Trossard, Tomiyasu, Tierney, Vieira, and hopefully Smith Rowe can recover to his best. Balogun and Patino cooking on loan is what KC says here. Hold tight, Terry's illegitimate son. That's kind of weird. I don't know. I've not met him yet. Hi, son. If you're okay out there, I hope you're doing well. Hook me up. Can join the rest of my brood. Almost got a football team now. United get too much credit. We outplayed them completely. 2+ XG versus 0.14. I thought it was 0.4 to be fair. Their goals only happened because of our mistakes. Completely dominated. Yeah, look, I think you can certainly look at it that way. I think what's really interesting about the games is how they feel when you're watching them compared to when you look at the statistics. I was shocked by the stats because it didn't feel that way in the game, as in the overall picture. It felt like United were always in it. But we were trying to counterpunch you, and that was what our tactic was. So you were always going to have more of the ball, more shots. Shots on target, though, the most important stat, 5-4. So, in terms of...
XG is just pointless, man.
Well, XG counts in terms of individual chances to a degree. Like how many gilt-edge chances did both teams have? How many big saves did goalies have to make? And Arsenal made our goalie make more saves. They had more big chances. But equally, if Man United had took 4 or 5, 6 more long shots from outside the box that the goalie caught easy, our XG would have been up to like 1.3, 1.4. But then those shots weren't really threatening, but there's a multitude of them that builds it up. If you took away all the efforts from Arsenal that didn't really damage or hurt us, their XG would have been a lot lower. So you have to delve into all of it a bit more. But Arsenal were the better team. They did deserve to win, but literally anyone could have won that game in the dying moments, and that's the nature of football. United have clearly improved, and props to them there. They will continue to improve. Arsenal are the better team, and also it does not get mentioned enough that we're doing it with a young squad. I think personally, I do hear it a lot, but then maybe that's how I talk to a lot of Arsenal fans. So, but yeah, it certainly deserves credit. These field tilt stats are driving me mad. Holding possession doesn't mean you are controlling the game. If it did, Spain would win every World Cup. Yeah,
Jose
again,
Mourinho famously said that too.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things. It's like what we didn't do in the second half, mainly the second half, is when we did win the ball back, we weren't good enough with it because we were sitting too deep. In the first half, we didn't have the majority of the ball, but we penetrated more, and that's due to a lack of quality of players in our team. And you heard the manager say this as well, like, this is why we're not a top team yet. They weren't following his instructions properly. Go back and watch the game again and watch him on the sideline screaming at the team to get further up the pitch. But the weaker the player, the more they start to sit back, because, it's essentially like when people cower away, it's cowering away. Egal, please look up antithesis in the dictionary. Yeah, I think antithesis means the opposite of what you're like. If I'm brave and you're a coward, you're the antithesis of brave. I think that's what it means, right? You're at university, Tom. You should know. I didn't know how Egal used it, to be fair. I think that's what it means. Terry, per your video this morning, all top 6 teams have outspent Arteta since he came in before this window. City and Chelsea way more. United, we spent 667 million in 3 years.
Unless it's called in 4th year.
Maybe. Arsenal.
Maguire and Sancho, that makes up a big bulk of it, doesn't it?
Yeah, just true. Yeah, true. Yeah, that probably is about right. Listen, again, I didn't say that Arsenal haven't spent money. Sorry, I didn't say that they've spent more money than anybody else. I'm just saying Arsenal have spent money. Like this, and I did this about Liverpool when they were talking about, we're winning the league, we're massive underdogs, like a shoestring budget. Like when you're spending hundreds of millions, and I've said this for years on the terrace. If you're new, you're not going to have heard it before. I said it about Liverpool. No one's an underdog. You're not Brentford winning the title. You're not Brighton winning the title. You're not Leicester winning the title. Like, we're all massive clubs. But yeah, that's very good going.
We have not spent 468 million since 2019. We've not spent
since
400.
well, it'll be from January 2020 because obviously Arteta weren't here in the summer of 2019. How much?
Then that might be wrong. Then that figure might be wrong. Then he might have. I think this guy must have counted it since 2019.
Well, I'll just look at Man United. So from Man United, from the summer of 2020, we spent 83 million in that summer. He's probably, I think he might have overshot it. So 83, that's euros, by the way, plus 142, plus 230. So it's 400. Since Arteta has been the manager, Man United spent 455 million euros. So in pounds, let me just convert this quick because I think your maths are wrong here, bro. 399. So Man United have spent 6 million more than Arteta has in that time. Since the summer of 2020. So I did think those numbers looked a bit. I mean, you've literally doubled Man United. You've almost doubled Man United's numbers there, my bro. You've almost doubled them.
Agendas must run. That's all it is.
Yeah. Like I said, you've spent money. I'm not saying it's been the most. Liverpool have definitely spent less. They have to have spent less. They have to have done.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's not. By the way, I said this a few weeks ago. Gooners, I would want my club to spend the most. Like celebrating not having as much money is weird, bruv. I don't get it. It's like saying, yeah, you've got a Bugatti.
It's just the same gimmick from when.
Yeah, I was gonna say that as well, Terry. Imagine that. Yeah, imagine you've got millions, but it's like, and you go buy what's the most expensive car? Lambo, Bugattis, whatever, and you're like, and then instead it's like, oh, why are you going to get a Lambo? Like, you should be going getting a Fiat Punto or something like that, man. What's going on here? It's value for money.
Going back to Gary Neville, does anyone actually believe that he says he wants Arsenal to win the league over City? His career rivals are Arsenal. It depends. I mean, he won't want City doing a three-peat. He won't want City winning the league because they're catching Man United quickly. He'll want something as a stop block on that. There's no doubt. I just think he's got a bit of an Arsenal agenda, and I've said that on a few streams. Joe's. It's fair to be fair to Egal. He's always here, win, lose, or draw. He dishes it out, but he can take it as well. Unlike the Ethiopian Colton Banks that goes into hibernation. And in fairness to
when do I go into hiding though? Like
I'm not listening to
fan cams and I stream every day. Like when do I go into hiding? Well, Lewis,
agendas must.
Sorry, go on.
Agendas must agenda.
The game is the game. It's cool.
I agree with you, by the way, Super Chat. He does go into hiding. I agree.
Jermaine here says Terry Piquet's side already, dude. Are you with United? Is one of these guys again that thinks I'm a fake Arsenal fan. I mean, bro, come on now. Show your face on camera. I appreciate the Super Chat. Show your face on camera, and I'll prove to you I'm a United fan if you want me to. You've only got to see the hole in my bathroom door from when Brentford put their fourth goal in to know. I'm not a secret. That's a good.
You're gonna come to Old Trafford next year, the season, and tell
once the Glazers are gone, I'm gonna rebuy some season tickets.
Love that.
I will go. I'll start giving money back to the club as soon as the leech is on. I'm not giving them my money. I can't. I'm already the first stream I do once they've sold. I'm gonna do the stream in full kit, socks, the lot, bruv. I'm gonna buy everything. I'm buying everything. I've been deprived. My kids ain't had nothing, especially the youngest ones. How about the news that Glazers could only sell a minority share to Palace shareholders Josh Harris and David Blizzard? This could and that could be all they sell. Would that derail the future progress? Yes. If that happens, you see my mood change, and I no longer have faith of becoming sustainably competitive. I'm sure Cass will feel exactly the same way about that.
Owners, man.
Not saying it's going to happen. If Eric Ten Hag won 3 cups this season and got top 4, would he deserve manager of the season over Arteta? Not if Arteta wins the league at the points rate they're looking at, like 98 points. That's a good question. If Arteta won the FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Europa League, and got top 4, Arteta won the league, say with 95 points, who deserves manager of the year?
Arteta could Premier League manager of the year.
But
the Europa League, it was the same thing when Klopp won it last year for winning 2 cups. He shouldn't have won it for winning 2 cups that aren't relevant to the league. It's Premier League manager of the year, not Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Premier League, Europa League, Champions League, Conference League.
Tom, you know what happened there? Voter fatigue. They got sick and tired of giving it to Jose. I mean, not Jose. Why did I say Jose? I mean Pep.
Yeah, but LMA. I think he means LMA. I think he means LMA Manager of the Year, which is for your overall achievements. The guy just commented that in the thing saying LMA Manager of the Year. Who would deserve it in your opinion?
You know what? I don't really care. If we win the Premier League, Arteta can win no trophies. I don't give a shit.
I still remember that game.
Do you know what's funny about that? Do you know, I love that you said that, Egal. You know, when everyone goes, oh, Gerrard is better than Scholes, he got more PFAs. Oh, brother, we got the Premier, you dickheads. Like, it's not a fucking argument. You're right. But equally, I'd give it to Ten Hag. I'd take it.
You know something, Terry? Are we going to revisit the Ten Hag Arteta conversation after he wins the Premier League? At that point, then surely his Eredivisie trophies and Arteta's Premier League, which one weighs higher? That's where the conversations can be. Football conversations can go.
I mean, Eddie Howe might be in for a good shout for what he's doing at Newcastle too.
I think you certainly can. I think we'll get to the end of the season, we see who's won what. But the thing is when you compare young managers, and they're both, Arteta's younger than him by about 10 years, but kind of just moving into the big time in the last couple of years, is that we could reevaluate every year, and every year it could do this. It's a hard thing to do. I think what you really need, you can do it at the end of the year, it's cool. I think what you really need to do is, me and Jess had this conversation on the preview, who's going to have the bigger legacy. I think you wait 3 to 4 seasons, and then you look at who's won the most in that time, and then you assess it. Because by the end of this season, Arteta, you could put above him. But equally, if you guys lose out at the last second and we win 2 cups, you probably won't want to have that conversation then. So I would say leave it a couple of seasons, and then we see who's done the best over that period of time. But yeah, it's certainly a conversation. Hope Sancho gets first minutes back this week. Yeah, I hope so as well.
He's playing.
Liverpool have spent 128 million since Arteta joined.
We haven't spent that. We spent low, but we haven't spent. We spent 266 million euros.
Oh, that's wrong as well. Where are people getting their stats from? Mad. 200. Yeah. That my man that was acting like United spent like nearly 3/4 of a bill in 3 years. I was like, I swear we haven't. You know.
That wasn't even. It was the fact that he said that Arsenal spent less than us. I wish we spent to Arsenal's level.
Yeah. But there we go. Listen, I want to say a big thank you to everyone that has tuned in today and had a chat with us. We are live after Fulham versus Tottenham later tonight, so make sure you're back with us. I am hoping for a Fulham win. It would definitely perk the weekend results up.
They're winning. Tottenham are too toxic right now. For them to win a game is very rare.
I don't think so, man. The tight pitches. I think Harry Kane will have a field day, man. Maybe potentially like he did against Palace.
Tottenham are going to be shaky in this game, no matter what. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy.
I'm hoping. I'm not even bothered though about Fulham Tottenham. Frank Lampard's gone. Get in there. Bye, Fat Frank.
Lampard. I feel a bit sorry for him this time round, though, Lampard, because you actually look at the club's in a mess because they've overspent, no money left, lost his best player. They barely spent a penny in the summer. The club is toxic and falling apart. And again, he shouldn't have taken the job. He's got bad advisors. Young managers need to go into stable environments. What Arteta's doing, this is one thing that's going to go massively into Arteta's legacy, is he took over a shite situation, and as a young manager, he's managed his way through it. What Arteta's doing is rare. What Arteta's actually doing, you could argue, is better than what Zidane and Pep did year 1, year 2, because they took over very good situations. But back to Lampard, I feel a bit sorry for him because it's very rare for inexperienced managers to handle these things.
No, you're not getting any sympathy from me. Frank, I'm just going off the previous manager before him. Rafa Benitez got £1 million to spend, and that was under Marty Gray. Frank Lampard has been able to spend over 130 at Everton, and he's got a worse win percentage. Richarlison,
he's never getting a Premier League.
Yeah, well, they also lost Richarlison.
Never get a Premier League job. That's Lampard's career done, mate. In a Prem, it's done.
No, he'll find another club. He'll be fine. I believe in Lampard. I believe in him.
I don't.
That's ridiculous. He's going to get another job easy.
I don't think so, man. I think if you can't even revive the Everton there and spend money, why was the club
leaving? Everton ain't been revived for like a decade.
There's better managers out there in the Championship. I'm not joking, and he deserves to be in the Prem at the moment. Frank Lampard is a shite manager, bro. Just call it for what it is.
You can like him as a manager. As a manager at Everton,
wank Lampard, bro.
Shocking. The only reason they liked him was because he kept them up. If you actually ask them now, the style of play was awful. They liked him because he kept them up and he was good in the press. He shouted at Klopp 3 years ago when we beat them 5-3.
I do get you. I do get you. This says Pep won a treble in his first season, Terry. Now, listen, but you got to understand what I'm saying. I said there's an argument for what Arteta's doing to be better because Arteta didn't take over. If Arteta took over Barcelona this summer with all the turmoil they're going through, You telling me he's going to win treble year one? No. Arteta. Imagine Arteta took over. The manager he is now. Imagine he took over in the summer of 2004.
You can't say the manager is now. We've got to compare it to the manager he was when he first took over.
Yeah,
That's
but
the same way with Pep.
The point I'm making is that Pep didn't take over a broken Barcelona. Like I'm not saying
it was a bit broken.
It was a little bit, innit?
Not really.
Like end of an era, they were getting rid of Deco, Ronaldinho, the like. They lost 2 La Ligas to Madrid on the bounce.
Built the best
I was a little bit,
but they were still. But they were still. Again, but the difference is this: they were like still one of the best teams in Europe. Arsenal,
I get what you mean.
Arsenal were probably the third best team, fourth best team in London at that point. Like, I'm not saying he's better than what those two achieved. I'm saying that to take over, I've always said this and I'm being consistent. What Fergie did in terms of revitalizing Man United was hard. A broken club of 30 years that had been relegated, that had more alcoholics than footballers on the football pitch. To revive that and to create what he did is different from taking over a team already up near the top, which is what Pep's done every single time. So I'm not saying he's better than Pep. I'm just saying first couple of years, if Arteta ends up winning this Prem and he's got an FA Cup already, there's an argument there that is a greater.
Ranieri won the Prem with Leicester in his first couple of years with Leicester, so I'm not trying to hear that too much. I get what you mean, though, but it's just
not Vanieri. Claudio Vanieri. Do you reckon he would have done that in his first couple of years of being a manager?
No, but what? It's just that look. I get it, but Zidane won back-to-back Champions League. Won it 3 times.
Again, I'm not saying better manager. I'm saying
at the start of the job,
at the start of their careers. I'm minimalizing it. We're broadening it too much. Like I'm just saying again. Did Arteta take over a team that had Ronaldo, peak Bow? Like, look what they took over. Like, just think. I'm not going to answer it. Just think about it for a second. This guy, who was it?
I think you can't really compare it with that then because they're ready-made teams. They're not ready-made teams.
But I'm comparing the achievements of managers who have gone into big clubs as their first jobs.
I'm not discrediting Arteta, right? But
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not discrediting Arteta, but I just think you should compare that situation to another situation where someone had to build up a club again, kind of thing, rather than ready-made.
I can't think of another manager that's taken over a big club that's fucked, that's mid-table, and within 3 years, it's a hair's breadth away from winning a big league, and has already won a domestic trophy. That hasn't happened. I get your point. But
who's the last manager to rebuild a club from the ground up?
Well, I'd have to research that. I don't know.
Graham Potter.
Graham Potter.
I mean, Klopp's a good shout. No?
Yeah, Klopp.
Yeah.
No. I think the rebuild started under Brendan Rodgers. They nearly won a league.
Hang
on. You nearly won the league a year and a bit before Klopp joined.
That's true.
So don't tell me you didn't start it.
Yeah, but then Arsenal
then he finished fifth, and then they left them in mid-table.
Bro,
Brendan Rodgers under us. Don't get Brendan Rodgers nearly won the league. No, he didn't. Brendan Rodgers had Luis Suarez playing out of his mind, Steven Gerrard playing out of his mind for one final time, Daniel Sturridge putting up numbers he'd never done before. Don't
hang on a minute. So you're going to discount Brendan Rodgers in that, but when world-class players perform for Klopp, it's because Klopp's a genius. Come on now.
Because Klopp could do it without the world-class players and with. The moment Brendan Rodgers lost Luis Suarez, he was useless. We were useless.
Yeah,
I disagree. I listen. You got better under Klopp, but the rebuild is when you start a project, and FSG had already started. You already started.
The project starts on the Dalglish then. Because Dalglish was the one who started.
You're right.
But then it doesn't make sense.
He won trophies, didn't he?
He won a League Cup.
They're gonna do a whole piece on Arteta when he's.
I think there's rebuilding a squad that's broken, and then there's rebuilding a club
like Eddie Allen.
From the ground up. Like I think that's very like Newcastle is a complete and utter rebuild from the ground up. I don't think that's what Klopp was doing. They definitely improved things, but you were already on the up and up. You're already on the up and up, in my opinion.
Well, Arsenal weren't that too bad.
Arsenal are fucked, bro.
They weren't as bad as Newcastle. They nearly won a Europa League trophy. They won an FA Cup.
You know what then, Terry? Let me ask you, who was in a worse situation when they took over? Arsenal and Arteta or Liverpool and Klopp?
Arsenal and Arteta still. There's no comparison to Kroenke back then, man.
Point this out. When Arteta took over, Arsenal were crowned Banter FC. Liverpool weren't.
He's right. He's right. You know what?
Because they weren't. No, listen, Arteta's done a better job. It's in terms of a harder job for rebuilding. Arsenal fan here, and absolutely say that Arsenal did not smash United. The only difference is that we had a better bench than United. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed to everyone. Good debates. I enjoyed it. Yeah, Neek says Liverpool and Klopp. Stop backing the Liverpool, Neek. I don't think that actually is Neek's. Neek's normally watches on Twitch, but it might be him. It might be him. Listen, sorry, Jess, you can say something. I thought you were going to say something. Sorry. Listen, everyone that has tuned in, a big thank you to each and every single one of you. Hit the like and the share button. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.